Well, hello everybody. It is your favorite day of the week. It is time for another episode of The Reality Reading Rainbow, where I talk about books written by your favorite reality stars and try to make sense of them. Well, hello. I'm Les Kuykendall-Barrett, and it's been a while. It's been a few months since I recorded a podcast. And you know what? And I'm doing this podcast just to disclose what has been going on. Because there's some good going on and there was some bad going on. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the book that I'm going to pick up where we left off, The Pursuit of Portia. But before I get into the book a little bit, I'm going to tell you what's been happening. So, let's start with the good. The good is my show, The Real Black Swan, Confessions of America's First Black Drag Queen, was a hit. I toured, how many cities did I tour? So I went to Ireland, and then I went to Dublin, Ireland, Cincinnati, Ohio, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Indianapolis, Indiana, and then Halifax, Nova Scotia. So I went to 5 cities over the summer, and my show did very well. And I mean, like, extremely well. Like, I actually have some more gigs coming up. Like, it's not done. As a matter of fact, I actually fly out in a couple of days to go to St. Paul, Minnesota to do a one-night-only performance. So the show is doing well. I'm very happy. So that took up a lot of my time because I was traveling and, had a busy schedule. Now, on the other side of things, the bad, my husband and I were in the process of adopting a child. Well, actually not a child, a teenager. She was 14. And at the very last minute, the adoption fell through. Now, I'm not going to get into details. But, it broke our hearts. It really did. And not only were we both devastated, I was devastated and still had to travel and do my shows. So that just became a lot because I had to show up every day. I had to put it this way. When I got the news that the adoption started, like the beginning of the end, about it, beginning to fall through, I literally was 30 minutes from going on stage to an audience of 400 people to host a show. Now, I did it. I went on that stage. I hosted the show. I kicked some ass. But, as you can imagine, dealing with something like that while having to go on stage and perform every day, it was a lot. It was a lot. So I stepped back from doing this podcast for a little while. But you know what? I'm feeling better. I've healed a little bit. It's going to be an ongoing process. By the way, my husband and I have decided to adopt again, or to try to adopt again. So we're in the process of looking for a new child. And so now I'm feeling up to recording again. Andrew is going to be joining again as well, little Andrew. But yeah, it just really took a lot out of me. And, I've never been through anything like this before. I've never tried to adopt a child before, let alone have it not work out. So I had a lot of mental shit to deal with. But I'm back. And you know what? I'm gonna pick up where we left off. No, I'm not sure how many listeners we have left. So I'm gonna have to build that up again from scratch. But if you've hung in there and if you're listening, thank you for your support. So I'm going to keep this one short, but what I did is I'm going to try to pick up from where I left off in the Pursuit of Portia book. So speaking of depressed, But we're in the chapter one. Portia was talking about Portia, and we're talking Portia, the former member of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Portia wrote a book before she ended her stint, but Portia is going to be in Girls Trip 3, Portia Williams, which the Ultimate Girls Trip 3 should be coming out soon, I would think. So she's still in the Bravo universe. So anyway, where I left off, Portia was talking about how she was a kid, she was 12 years old, and she was going through a depression. And her mother, which I found very cool, is her mother knew something was up, and her mother got her a therapist. But the way that the mom got her into a therapist's office is her mother told her that the therapist was a friend of hers. And so she was like, Portia, I want you to go and talk to my friend and just tell my friend what's going on with you. So Portia went in, but she really didn't understand what was going on. And in her head, she was like, well, why am I going to talk to this complete stranger and tell this complete stranger why I'm depressed and what is going on with me? So she wasn't open with her therapist. But that happens a lot. That's actually more common than you think, not being open with your therapist. She just instead chose to pretend like she had it all together when she didn't. And she basically said that she stuffed her feelings until the divorce, when she was divorcing her first husband, Stuart, what was his name? Cordell. Oh, Cordell. So she and Cordell were getting a divorce. I guess Cordell blindsided her, so she was not expecting a divorce. She left him with nothing. And so she said that she was blindsided. And you know what? The crazy thing is thinking about the story that I'm about to tell you, I could relate to this story more than I want to. But she said that it was the week that she found out that she was getting divorced. She had to go to Bravo upfronts, which what upfronts are is, I guess, before the season starts, major networks have a party where they show advertisers and other people, this is what we've got going on for this season. And so that's what Bravo was doing. And so Portia, she said that she was there with Nene and a few others. And so she was at upfronts, and then just the depression and the pressure from having her marriage and, you know, not only end, but be blindsided and have it end. It just all hit her, you know, but she had to show up at this event, and she was at this event anyway. So she had to put on a brave face and get through this event, you know, as best she could. And the minute that she could do it, she went to the bathroom and she started crying, because she had felt at this point that she had failed. You know, she was a young woman when she got married. She said that she gave up everything for Cordell. So she says she's in the bathroom and she's crying, and her little sister Lauren, her younger sister, not little, she's younger, Lauren is like, well, you know what? I actually know where you're at, Portia. And then Lauren proceeds to tell Portia that she suffered depression in college. And she talked about going to therapy as well. Now, before I say what I'm going to say, I just want to let the audience know, if you don't know, I am African American. So what I'm about to say is, because you can't cancel me because I'm an African American talking about an African American issue. Therapy is not big in the African American community. It just isn't. I remember when I started going to therapy the first time. I'm actually back in therapy again because of what is going on with right now. But I remember the first time I went into therapy, I told my mother, and my mother was very unhappy about me being in therapy. And my mother was like, well, why do you need to go into therapy? Can't you just go to church? And that's how it's a generational thing, but that's how a lot of older African Americans think. They think that, why do you need to go and tell someone your business? Why can't you just go to church? Why can't you just pray your problems away? And so to hear Lauren, an African American young woman, talk about going to therapy and encouraging her sister to go to therapy, I thought that was really cool. Now, it's kind of interesting because actually, you know what? I know an African American therapist. I know Dr. Monica. She was on the Bravo show about the summer camp, and she's a friend of mine. I might try to get Dr. Monica to come on, because we've actually discussed this before. You know, her being an African American therapist. I might do that. I might try to get Dr. Monica to come on. Anyway, I just found it refreshing that Portia's sister, you know, was like, listen, sis, you gotta go to therapy. Now, so then the secret basically comes out that one of the reasons why Portia was depressed, the depression had lingered on from when her dad died. And that was why Lauren was depressed too, because Portia's dad died, and he died very suddenly when she was 16. And he died of a rare blood disease. And so her father was very prominent with the civil rights movement. And so, you know, she had to show up and put a smile on her face at his funeral, and she just had to put on this brave soldier act, you know. And so she held everything in, and it kind of got to her. And that was the end of chapter 1. And I guess it was chapter 1, whatever chapter that I picked up on, it was the end of that chapter. But anyway, I just wanted to make this short podcast to let you know I'm back, and you're gonna get regular weekly podcasts again. Little Andrew's gonna be joining me. But yeah, I'm back, and I'm back to my routine, and I'm working on healing and feeling better. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Facebook at Les Kirkendall Barrett, or you can find me on Insta at Kirkendall, and Kirkendall is spelled Kurkendaal, or you can find me on my website, leskirkendallbarrett.com. And I guess that's it. So until next time, keep reading. Bye.